Hey there, well we finished another year, so in this video we're going to be looking through 2024 as a whole, diving into some of the stats and seeing what we saw happen in our market last year, as well as comparing some of the stats to the predictions that I made for 2024 to see if I was on track or if I was way off. And then we're going to look ahead into 2025 and lay out some predictions of what I think we're going to see in our market this year. So if you want to take a look at that past predictions video for 2024, I'll put a link up in one of these corners here so you can go and check out that one before watching this one if you want. And if you like these prediction videos, please give this one a like down below and make sure you comment what you think is going to happen in our market here in Airdrie in 2025. Now let's just get right into the stats. Alright, so first things first, we're going to take a look at sales. And before we look at the stats, let's take a look back to what I predicted coming into 2024. So for sales, I'm expecting an increase of about 10% over 2023, which would give us about 2,050 sales within the year here in Airdrie. Alright, so from that you can see I predicted 2,050 sales in 2024, which would be a 10% increase over the 1,868 sales we had in 2023. Well, looking at the numbers, by the end of 2024, we ended up with 1,951 sales in Airdrie. So our sales did increase in 2024 as compared to 2023, but not quite as much as I predicted. We saw a 4.5% increase in sales last year as compared to 2023. Now, as you can see on this chart here, it shows us the monthly sales for the past few years, with 2024 being the blue bars, the green line being 2023, the gray line is 2022, and the orange line is 21. You can see how at the beginning of 2024, we were beating 2023 sales by quite a lot each month, but by the late spring, our monthly sales were starting to lag behind 2023, and then we ended the year with the last few months going back and forth a little bit. So now looking at 2025, what am I expecting to see in terms of sales? Well, there's a lot of factors that play into what those sales end up being for the year, but there's a couple things we need to consider for 2025. One is that there are a lot of low interest mortgages that will need to be renewed in 2025 and 2026. Now that could mean that some of those owners sell and make a move once they no longer risk losing that lower interest rate that they were locked into, or they don't sell because with the current higher interest rate, they maybe aren't able to upgrade to the home that they'd want to be in next anyway, so it just isn't worth it. And with rates still moving down, I think many are going to opt for that second option until rates come down a bit more, maybe doing a variable mortgage for the time being until the fixed rates come down a bit more to where they're open to locking in at a certain rate on the fixed side of things. But I don't think we're going to see a lot of people panic selling like the news might be telling you right now, where we've got these mortgages up for renewal, people can't afford the houses that they're in, so they need to panic sell and get out of it just so they don't have to default on their mortgage. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that. There will be a certain amount of that as people need to pay a little bit more on their mortgage. In certain cases, they won't be able to afford that newer payment, so then they'll have to sell. They will be in a good equity position though, because right now prices are higher than they have been when they got their mortgage 4 or 5 years ago. So there will be a bit of that, but I think for the most part, people are either going to go ahead and make their move, or they're going to choose to just stay where they're at and ride out the interest rates till they come down a bit more. And the next factor that goes into our sales number is there's just a ton of new builds going up all the way around Airdrie right now. And those new build sales in most cases aren't reflected on our MLS. So if lots of people are opting for new builds, that can make the MLS sales look lower and the stats we have look lower. But we also have to consider that the Airdrie population is growing fairly rapidly. So even in a market that's staying the same, that would mean a sales increase simply due to there being more people here to buy and sell homes. So with all that said, I think we're going to see sales very slightly go down here in 2025 as compared to 2024, ending the year with right around 1,900 sales here in Airdrie, which would be a 2.7% decrease in our overall sales number. Alright, now moving on, this is the next prediction I made in last year's video where I was talking about just the general flow of the market throughout the year. I expect we'll see good activity in January, but I think our spring market will really ramp up in February and go right through into the summer around July, where I think we'll start to see more of a seasonal taper off right in the middle of summer, right around July there. All right, so there you saw, I was expecting an earlier spring market than we saw the previous year, with sales ramping up in February and tapering off a bit come July. Well, if we put up that same sales chart that I showed you before, we can actually see that that's exactly what ended up happening. An earlier run up in the spring compared to 2023, starting with a busier January and then ramping up in February and March before slowing down come July. And moving into 2025, I think we're going to see the exact same thing, a fairly early start to the spring market, ramping up in February and then tapering off come July again for the rest of the year. Now next up, we're going to look at the months of supply here in Airdrie. Now remember, the months of supply, which is a really good indicator of the current state of the market, just tracks the monthly sales number as compared to the current inventory to determine how long it would take for us to sell out of our current supply if no new homes came on the market. Now for this stat, anything under 2 months is considered a seller's market, 2 to 4 months of supply would be considered a balanced market, and anything over 4 months of supply would be in a buyer's market. So let's take a look back at my prediction for 2024, and then we'll look at the stats of what actually happened. I think it's a good chance we see our month's supply overall in Airdrie get back down to right around that 1 month mark, even maybe just a little bit below, before going back up toward the 2 month mark in the fall and winter time, which would put us in a very hot seller's market in the first part of the year and closer to that balanced market by the end of the year. Alright, so I was predicting a seller's market for at least the first half of 2024, with months of supply possibly even dipping below 1 month before moving up and ending the year in balanced market territory. Well, on this chart here, you can see our month's supply for each month in 2024. And as you can see on here, we did end up going below 1 month's supply in March and April of 2024 before going back above 1 month and eventually reaching a more balanced market of over 2 months supply come September and for the remainder of 2024. So our month's supply for 2024 went about as I expected it to, but now we have to look forward to 2025. So as for month's supply moving forward into this year, we're starting off the year in January with a higher month's supply than we've seen to start a new year since 2021. Now that didn't stop us from having a crazy sales year in 2021, but I don't think that's what we're going to see this time. Now, I think we will see our month's supply dip back into a seller's market, but I don't think we'll be there the majority of this year. I expect we go back below 2 months supply around February or March before moving back to a balanced market above 2 months by July or August. I don't think we're going to see under 1 month's supply at any time this year. But of course, I've been wrong before, so take these predictions for what they are, simply predictions based on my understanding of the market. All right, now for the last area of the market that we're going to look at, and for many is the most important area of the market, and that is our prices. So let's take a look back at my prediction last year to see what I thought was going to happen with our prices. Well, the way our activity seems to be headed right now, I think we're looking at more increases here this year. I'm expecting that we see overall prices move up 8% in 2024 here in Airdrie, with most of the increases coming in the first 6 to 8 months of the year, and then remaining fairly flat for the last 4 to 6 months of 2024. Alright, so I was predicting prices to go up 8% in 2024, with most of the increases coming in the first half of the year. So let's take a look and see what ended up happening. So here on this chart here, you can see our inventory, sales, and benchmark price for each month in 2024. Now we're specifically looking at that orange line, which is the benchmark price. And from the start of the year in January to the peak benchmark price we saw in June was a 6.9% increase in price, so reasonably close to the 8% that I had predicted. But I did expect that prices would level off for the remainder of the year, but we actually saw prices come down a bit for the last half of 24, which by the end of the year left us with an overall price increase for the year of 4.5%. So it's fairly close for the mid-year prediction, but definitely ended the year a decent amount lower than I was expecting in terms of pricing. So now again, looking ahead to 2025, what do I think we're going to see for prices this year? Well, I don't think we're going to see as much price movement in 2025 as we've seen the past few years. I'm expecting a reasonable increase of about 4% by mid-year, which is more in line with what we typically see in our real estate around here. And then I think we'll see things slow down for the last half of the year of 2025 again and end the year with around a 3% increase for the year from start to finish. All right, well, there you have it. My predictions for our 2025 Airdrie real estate market: 1,900 sales, seller's market in the spring, but balanced market for the rest of the year, and then 3 to 4% price increases throughout the year. Now, these are just predictions, and of course, no one knows what's going to happen in the market this year, but I'd really like to hear from you. If you've watched this far into the video, what do you think we're going to see in our market this year? Prices going up, prices going down, sales up or down? Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments down below. I'd really like to see what you're all thinking of our market right now as well. And while you're down there, if you enjoyed this video, please tap that thumbs up and give it a like, and also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next video. Again, my name is Brad Walker with Redline and Real Broker, your local Airdrie Realtor, and we'll see you in the next video.